Good morning, kids. Dad here. It is Thursday, July 23, 2026. Your 45-year-old dad coming to you here from Winnebago, Minnesota. And I had a wonderful day yesterday. Took the day off of work, and spent the day with the American Legion State Commander, helping them recover from shoulder surgery. So I played nurse to the best of my abilities. Made sure they took their meds and they were comfortable and settled in and all that. So that was a nice way to spend my day. Watched a couple movies with them. But today we're going to talk about step 9. The one that your dad absolutely dreaded and was terrified of. Step 9 is made amends to such people, except when to do so would it injure them or others. So, as you recall, step 1, Dad, you're fired. You suck at managing your own life. Step 2, coming to believe that something more powerful than Dad could help me. Step 3, making a decision. Turn my will and my life over to the care of that higher power. Step 4, that what we call moral inventory. That list of my fears, things I was angry about, personal relations. Step 5, sharing that list with another human being. Step 6, becoming ready to have God, as I understand Him, remove my defects, my dishonesty, my ego, my pride, my selfishness, and reviewing all the steps up to that point. Step 7, prayer, asking God to remove those things. Step 8, making the list of all the people I had harmed. Then comes step 9. I actually have to do what we call amends. And amends is kind of like an apology. Kind of. And I say kind of because when you apologize to someone, what do we do, kids? You know, you made a lot of apologies, right? You say, hey, I did something wrong and I'm sorry. I'll do my best not to do it again. And amends is similar. So in amends, you're going to have a conversation with someone and you're going to tell them, you know, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, been working a 12-step program. As part of that, I recognize and appreciate that I did XYZ to wrong you. And it was based on my selfishness, my dishonesty, my fear, whatever it was. And that harmed you in whatever way. And that's not the person I aspire to be. But then here's where it becomes an amends and not an apology. This is the important part. You let them know that I'd like to make things right. And is there anything I can do to make things right? Is there anything I can do to repair the damage that I did? And then you shut up and listen. You shut up and listen. Maybe it's somebody that you owe some money. Maybe it's somebody that you owe them some time. Maybe there's something you have to physically repair or replace that you stole or you broke. Maybe it's somebody who you just need to listen to them. So you listen, you ask, what can I do to make things right? You listen. And then, and again, this is a key part, you do your very best to do whatever it is they say you can do to make things right. Maybe they'll say, you owe me $1,000. Well, if you don't have $1,000, you be honest. You say, well, I don't have $1,000 right now. But what I do have is a job so I can pay you $100 every paycheck to make things right. And you do your best to make things right. So again, it's like an apology, but you have to add the big parts of asking them what you can do to make things right, and then doing those things to the best of your ability. So that was scary for me. I had about 8 people on my list of people that I knew I'd harmed at the time. And I had to reach out to them. A couple of them were former employers, bosses, that I knew that I was not performing my best for them because of my defects, right? I was being selfish, I was being self-centered. I was a little bit dishonest with them along the way. Didn't tell them what was going on with me, what I was going through. And that wasn't fair to them. It probably made them look bad in some ways because they trusted me. So what I did is I reached out to them and I sent them basically a letter. And in that letter is fairly brief, just about a paragraph, telling them that I've been working a 12-step program, been doing a lot of reflecting, and in that process I recognized that I was not the employee that you expected me to be and that you deserved. And then I told them in that letter that if you would like to have a conversation about this, I'd be very open and willing to providing a little more detail and listening to you to hear anything that I can do to make things right. So what I'm really doing there is I'm inviting a conversation, because just sending a letter really isn't enough to make a proper amends. Because remember, the listening part, I got to listen to them and listen for them to say, what can I do to make things right? Can't really do that in a letter. So in the letter, I'm inviting that conversation. So I send that letter and I'm terrified, I'm shaking. I prepared it. I read it with my sponsor, made a couple little edits to it, and then I sent it, and I was shaking. As I sent it, I was like, my hands were shaking. I was so nervous, so scared, because what are they going to think? What are they going to think when I'm admitting that maybe I was under the influence of drugs and or alcohol, prescription medications and or alcohol while I was working for them? Boy, I may never get another job again. People are going to know that I was struggling with some prescription drugs and alcohol. And what are they going to say to make things right? What if they say I owe them $1 million? I was terrified, but I had to send it. And I did, for 2 former employers. Here's the wild thing. I never heard back from either of them. Never heard back. So I know they got the letters, but they never replied. So what does that mean? Well, it could mean they're so mad at me they just want me to, they never want to hear from me again. Okay, I have to accept that. It's a consequence of my actions. And that's their right. Could mean that maybe they thought it wasn't that big a deal, that I did just fine for them. And maybe they didn't want to have that conversation because they didn't think it was necessary. That's possible. The hard part is not really knowing. But what I do know is that I made every effort to make things right. And maybe if I was to run into them a day, a week, a year from now, 10 years from now, I know that I could look them in the eye and know that I did everything within my power to make things right, while respecting their right to not have that conversation. So some other people I had to make some amends with were a couple of big ones were your mother and your grandmother. I was not the man that I should have been in a lot of ways. And again, I had to focus on my part. My part. What did I do wrong or fail to do? The ways in which I was not fully present for them, living up to my standards and expectations. Probably not living up to theirs either. So the challenging thing there is, particularly with your mother, I had to wait. Based on some of the legal stuff going on. I could not contact your mother for about a year and a half. And when finally the legal things got to a point where I was legally able to send her a letter, I did. And I took accountability for some of my actions that probably hurt her. And I let her know that I was open to a conversation, to listen, and hear what I could do to make things right. I sent that letter in May. And again, I didn't hear back from her. She never responded. So again, just like with those employers, that's her right. That's her right to not respond, to not have that conversation. But I know that even though she didn't respond and let me know what I can do to make things right, I've been able to send her some extra money every single paycheck, because that will help make things right to the fullest of my ability, sending her extra money. The state of Minnesota says I have to send her a certain amount of money to help pay for the house, groceries, all those things. I send her extra, even more than what the state says I have to. And it's not much, but it's as much as I can afford. It's enough. It's as much as I can, so that at the end of the month, I don't have any extra money in my bank account, and she's got as much as I can provide. So that's what kind of sometimes we call a living amends, where you're doing something you can to make things right, even though the person didn't say specifically what you can do or what they would like you to do. Similarly, with your grandmother, I reached out to her after your mother. I wanted to give your mother the respect of contacting her first. And I never heard back from your grandmother either. So the nice thing, though, is I can still sleep well at night, knowing that I did everything I can do. I've done everything I can do. I took accountability for my wrongs. I invited them to a conversation so I can listen to how they felt about things, to other ways maybe in which I wronged them, that there's ways I don't know about, and so that I can hear from them what I can do to make things right. So those were tough ones. The employers, your mother, your grandmother, those were very, very difficult ones. Hopefully without sounding arrogant about it, took a lot of courage, particularly with your mother and grandmother. I had a lawyer tell me, Ryan, if you send them these letters, it could be used against you. It could be used against you with a judge. It could be used against you with the courts, because you're admitting to some things in there that they could hold against you, and it'll could hurt you in that sense, and probably not the best thing to do legally. But then my lawyer said, I also understand, Ryan, that you're sober, that you take your program very seriously, and that your program tells you this is something you have to do. You have to do it as part of your program. You have to do it to be right with God. So the way my lawyer said it was, I do not legally recommend that you send these letters, because they will be used against you. However, how free do you want to be? And for me, it was an easy decision. It was a decision I made. I knew I was going to have to do it early on, and I did it as soon as I was legally able to, as soon as I was legally able to contact your mother again. So I can tell you, kids, I sleep very well at night as a result of having made these amends. I had some other interesting ones in there that went a little bit differently than I expected. I had one, a former waitress at a restaurant that I was a real jerk with. And I ended up tracking her down, reached out to her. We had that conversation, the amends conversation. And when it got to me asking what can I do to make things right, because I treated you poorly, you didn't deserve to be treated like that. She said, I'm just happy for you that you've gotten to a point in life where you're doing the right thing every day now. And she said that all I can do is keep doing the right thing. Keep doing what I'm doing. Boy, was that a relief. I had another one, a gentleman, a Marine, I was supposed to give a ride to, and I didn't give him a ride. I blew it off because I was being selfish. And I reached out to him. I was thinking that he was going to make me be his Uber driver and make me drive him around like a taxi for free for a year to make right what I had done. That's what I fully expected. And again, he told me, Ryan, I know that's not the person you are. I understand. You just keep doing what you're doing, and it's all okay. So in the process of amends, you get some serious release from guilt that you may be holding. And it's a freedom that is unlike any sort of freedom that I can explain in words. Any sort of freedom like the dictionary defines it. It is a spiritual freedom. Today I can walk down the street and there's nobody on this planet I could run into that I would have to hide from. And there may be people who think I'm a bad person, who hate me, who think whatever they want to think, but you know what? I can just let them, because I know that I've done everything in my power, my part, to make things right. God knows that. At the end of the day, that's all I can control, and that's all that matters. So anyhow, this is a long one, kids. I apologize if you're still watching this video. Wow. But it was an important one for me to talk about. Very important one. Very, very difficult step 9. But ultimately the one that for me took the most courage, was the most humbling, was also the most liberating. I love you kids so much. We'll talk soon.